Warning: this podcast contains mature content and is intended for adult listeners only. The events depicted in this podcast are purely fictional and are not based on real-time events or people. Any similarities to actual events or individuals are purely coincidental. This podcast contains explicit language, mature content, and discussions of sensitive topics. It is intended for mature audiences only. The content of this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as factual information. Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to an AdamGT 2 podcast. We hope you enjoy this podcast and leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.
Our story begins in a place known as City 17, a dystopian metropolis under the oppressive rule of a regime known as the Combine. The Combine had imposed a strict and authoritarian regime, suppressing any form of dissent or resistance. But in the shadows, a flicker of hope remained. Matthew Alexander was born in the heart of City 17, where life was characterized by fear and conformity. He grew up in a modest home with his parents and younger sister, Sarah. Even from a young age, Matthew had a fiery spirit that refused to be extinguished.
It all started with my dad, really. He used to tell me stories about a time before the Combine, when the world was free. Those tales lit a spark within me, a longing for a life beyond the oppressive walls of City 17.
Matthew's father was a source of inspiration, planting the seeds of rebellion in his son's mind. But it wasn't until he witnessed the brutal suppression of a peaceful protest that Matthew decided he couldn't stand idly by any longer. Matthew joined a small underground resistance group determined to fight against the Combine's tyranny. But little did he know that this decision would set him on a path that would change his life forever. As the resistance grew, Matthew's leadership qualities became evident. He earned the trust and respect of his fellow rebels, and before long, he found himself at the helm of the entire organization.
Becoming a leader wasn't a choice I made lightly. It was thrust upon me by circumstances. Our mission was clear: to break free from the Combine's stranglehold and find a place where humanity could thrive once more.
But escaping from City 17, a city tightly controlled by the Combine, was no easy task. Matthew's leadership skills were put to the ultimate test when he organized a daring escape plan. The escape was risky and fraught with danger, but Matthew and his comrades managed to evade Combine forces, and with a combination of clever tactics and sheer determination, they made their way to Syntax City.
Syntax City was a refuge for those who opposed the Combine, but it wasn't paradise. We had to keep moving, stay one step ahead of our pursuers.
And so, Matthew's journey continued as he led his group from Syntax City to Union City, always one step ahead of the relentless Combine forces. In Union City, the resistance found new allies and resources. They began to formulate a plan to strike back at the Combine, but it wouldn't be easy. The Combine's grip extended far and wide, and they had formidable technology at their disposal. Union City, though a haven for rebels, was not without its own set of challenges. The Combine's influence stretched even here, and Matthew knew that they couldn't stay hidden for long.
Union City was a beacon of hope, but we had to remain vigilant. The Combine had a long reach, and betrayal could come from unexpected places.
As Matthew's group grew, so did their determination. They began to gather intelligence on Combine operations, sabotaging their supply lines and forming alliances with other rebel groups scattered across the region. But it wasn't just the Combine they had to contend with. Infighting among rebel factions and scarce resources tested Matthew's leadership like never before.
Leading a rebellion is not just about fighting the enemy. It's about keeping your own people united and focused on the ultimate goal: freedom.
Despite the challenges, Matthew's leadership shone through. His unwavering determination and charisma earned him the respect of rebel leaders from other factions. Together, they formed a council to coordinate their efforts against the Combine. As the rebellion gathered strength, so did the Combine's desperation. They launched a brutal crackdown on Union City, leading to a devastating battle that would forever be remembered as the Battle of Union City.
The Battle of Union City was a turning point in our struggle. It was a battle for survival, and we knew that if we lost, the Combine's grip on our world would tighten even further. Watch out! Combine! Oh, my leg!
The rebels fought valiantly, but the odds were stacked against them. Matthew and his comrades had to make a difficult decision: to evacuate Union City and go underground, or stay and fight to the bitter end.
Help! No! No!
Matthew chose to evacuate, knowing that their fight would continue in the shadows. The rebellion scattered, and Matthew led his group deeper into the wilderness, where they would regroup and plan their next move.
Leaving Union City was heart-wrenching, but it was a strategic move. We had to adapt, become guerrilla fighters, and chip away at the Combine's power one operation at a time.
And so, Matthew and his fellow rebels embarked on a new phase of their struggle, determined to outmaneuver the Combine and ignite the spark of resistance in even the darkest corners of their world. After the evacuation from Union City, Matthew's rebel group, known as the Freeborn, operated as a shadowy force, striking at the Combine where they least expected it.
We knew that we couldn't confront the Combine head-on, at least not yet, so we adopted a strategy of guerrilla warfare. We hit their supply lines, disrupted their communications, and liberated prisoners whenever we could.
Matthew's leadership and tactical acumen became legendary among the rebels. He earned a reputation for pulling off daring rescues, none more audacious than the liberation of Dr. Elena Vasquez, a brilliant scientist held captive by the Combine. Dr. Vasquez's expertise was invaluable to the rebellion. With her help, they managed to reverse engineer Combine technology and develop new weapons and gadgets to aid their cause.
Joining the rebels was a leap of faith, but it was also my chance to fight back against the regime that had stolen my research and enslaved our world.
As the Freeborn continued their covert operations, they uncovered a distressing truth about the Combine's plans. They were building a massive facility known as the Nexus, designed to consolidate their control and extend their reach across the entire world.
The Nexus was a game changer. It was clear that if we didn't act, the Combine's dominance would become absolute.
The rebellion knew that they had to strike at the heart of the Combine's power. In a daring operation, they infiltrated the Nexus, aiming to disrupt its construction and send a message to the oppressive regime. The operation was fraught with danger, but Matthew and his team pushed forward, facing unimaginable odds. They succeeded in sabotaging the facility, delaying its completion and showing the Combine that they were not invincible.
The Nexus operation was a turning point. We proved that the Combine could be challenged, that their grip on our world wasn't unbreakable.
But victory came at a cost. Many brave rebels were lost in the operation, and Matthew had to carry the weight of their sacrifice as he led the Freeborn forward. As the rebellion continued to grow, they forged unexpected alliances with other rebel factions, sharing resources, intelligence, and strategies. The Combine, feeling the pressure of the growing rebellion, escalated their efforts to crush it. They launched a devastating offensive on multiple rebel strongholds, leaving Matthew and his allies with few options.
The Combine had shown their true colors. It was time for the rebels to unite as one force against a common enemy.
And so Matthew and his fellow rebel leaders convened to form a united front, pooling their resources, fighters, and knowledge into a single, formidable alliance. With the rebel alliance formed, Matthew knew that the time had come to plan their ultimate assault on the Combine. Gathered around a makeshift table in their hidden base, he addressed the leaders of the various rebel factions.
This is it, my friends. We've united against a common enemy, and now it's time to make our stand. The Combine will never see us coming.
As Matthew outlined their strategy, emphasizing surprise and coordinated strikes, there was a palpable sense of determination in the room. But as the meeting continued, Dr. Elena Vasquez, the brilliant scientist, couldn't help but voice her concerns.
Matthew, I must speak up. Our intelligence indicates that the Combine is regrouping and fortifying their positions. They have a vast arsenal at their disposal, and our weaponry is dwindling.
Matthew looked at Dr. Vasquez, his brow furrowing in concern. The truth in her words was undeniable. The Rebel Alliance was running low on resources, and they couldn't afford a head-on battle with the Combine without adequate weapons.
Elena, what do you suggest?
We need to think outside the box, Matthew. We can't match the Combine's firepower, but we can outsmart them. We must focus on disruption, sabotage, and guerrilla tactics.
The room fell silent once more as the rebel leaders contemplated Elena's words. The realization slowly sank in that a direct confrontation with the Combine might not be their best course of action. Matthew nodded, his eyes reflecting the weight of the decision they were about to make.
Elena, you're right. Our strength lies in our ingenuity and our unity. We'll adapt our strategy, focus on hit-and-run tactics, and disrupt their operations wherever we can.
With the rebel leaders in agreement, a new plan began to take shape, one that played to their strengths rather than their weaknesses. The Alliance shifted its focus to gathering intelligence, pinpointing key Combine installations, and launching surgical strikes. As the rebels began to implement their new strategy, a sense of hope and determination returned to their ranks. However, they couldn't shake the knowledge that the Combine's might still loomed large and their resources were finite. Dr. Elena Vasquez continued her work tirelessly, using her scientific expertise to devise innovative solutions and weapons from limited resources. She was determined to help tip the balance in their favor.
Every breakthrough we achieve brings us one step closer to defeating the Combine. We might not have the firepower they do, but we have determination and resourcefulness on our side.
As their final plan took shape, Matthew and his allies knew that their future hung in the balance. The climactic showdown with the Combine was fast approaching, and the fate of their world depended on their ability to adapt, disrupt, and outmaneuver their powerful adversary. The Rebel Alliance's preparations were in full swing, but the rumors of Neon City continued to linger in the background, casting a shadow of uncertainty over their plans. Matthew Alexander, torn between the allure of a potential safe haven and the pressing need to confront the Combine, couldn't shake his doubts.
Neon City sounds like a dream, a place untouched by the Combine. But we've seen so many rumors turn to dust before. Can we truly trust it?
Matthew's concerns were shared by others in the Alliance. Despite their efforts to gather information about Neon City, there was a conspicuous lack of concrete details. It left them with more questions than answers.
We've been scouring all available sources, but it's as if Neon City doesn't exist in any official records. No Combine activity, no takeover reports, nothing.
The lack of information about Neon City left the Alliance in a quandary. Should they divert their efforts to reach this potential safe haven? Or should they remain focused on the challenges at hand, the very real threats posed by the Combine? Matthew convened a council meeting to address this dilemma. The room was filled with tension as rebel leaders and their allies voiced their opinions.
Neon City might be a trap. The Combine could be using it as bait to lure us into an ambush.
But we can't ignore the possibility of a sanctuary. If it's real, it could be our only chance to regroup and rebuild.
I've heard your concerns, and I share your doubts. But we can't make a decision based on speculation alone. We'll send a small team to verify the existence of Neon City. In the meantime, we must remain focused on our current objectives.
The decision to send a reconnaissance team was met with cautious approval. As the team set out to investigate Neon City, the rest of the Alliance continued their covert operations against the Combine. Weeks turned into months as the reconnaissance team combed through the desolate landscape, seeking any sign of Neon City. Meanwhile, the Alliance faced both successes and setbacks in their ongoing fight against the Combine. Finally, the reconnaissance team returned with news, but it wasn't what Matthew and the Alliance had hoped for.
We scoured the area where Neon City was rumored to be, but we found nothing. No city, no signs of life, nothing. It's as if Neon City never existed.
Matthew was disheartened by the news. The beacon of hope they had clung to had faded into obscurity. It was a reminder that in their world, reality often fell short of their dreams. And so the Rebel Alliance refocused their efforts on confronting the Combine. With their new guerrilla tactics and Dr. Elena Vasquez's innovative weaponry, they continued to disrupt the enemy's operations. The climax of their struggle drew near. The Rebel Alliance's attacks grew bolder and more daring, sowing confusion and fear among the Combine's ranks. As the rebels readied themselves for the impending showdown, Matthew knew that their journey had come full circle. They had started as a small resistance group in the heart of City 17, and now they were an alliance poised to challenge the might of the Combine. In our closing moments, we bear witness to the rebels as they gather their strength, their resolve unshakable. Matthew Alexander's journey, filled with adversity and uncertainty, has led him to this pivotal moment. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the life of Matthew Alexander and the Rebel Alliance. As they face the Combine in a climactic showdown, we leave you with the knowledge that their fight for freedom will echo through the annals of history. Life Before the Facility, Podcast Edition, is a production of AdamGT 2 and AdamGT Studios on YouTube. Stay tuned for more podcast stories of resilience, courage, and the enduring human spirit while you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and that bell icon for more awesome AdamGT 2 content. Goodbye for now, and may the spirit of rebellion live on. And here is a quick message to our listeners while we say goodbye for now.
Excited to have your AI requests featured on the AdamGT2 YouTube channel? Simply drop a comment on our latest post and be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more awesome content like this. Your input matters to us.
This has been an AdamGT Studios production.